Welcome to today's podcast. Today we have with us a very esteemed guest. His name is Dilip Pinto sir. Dilip Pinto sir is an expert in the field of corporate behavioral and soft skill development. He has mentored, coached and trained over 61,000 individuals. 61,000 individuals he has trained over his 24-year career, and he is extremely knowledgeable, skilled and full of wisdom. And today he is with us, and we are gonna be in for a great ride, and he is gonna shower us with great insights. See you in the podcast. See you.
My pleasure, and thank you for inviting me and considering me worthy. Okay, let me very quickly run you through my background. I actually am academically chemistry graduate, but thankfully left all those chemicals in the laboratory of Zerodha College, one of the most glamorous places of Bombay, as we call it. And after that, I completed my post-graduation in management at NMIMS. So whether it is school, whether it is college or post-graduation, I'm very fortunate. I think God's chosen child that I was in the vicinity only as far as travel goes. And yes, of course, I always consider every day as the first day on the job. I don't rest on my past laurels. I always feel that, we are here to perform itself. So I always look at it as my first day on the job. That is the reason many times people ask me this question, sir, aren't you bored after being in the industry for such a long time? I said, I look at it because every day I interact with people from different backgrounds, etc. So the experience has been totally different. It cannot be similar. Like when you deal with pharma industry, or whether you deal with doctors, or whether from the hospital's background or the hotel's background, etc. So the experience is varied. So that is what has been, I think, very challenging and always made me to do my level best. And yes, of course, as we go along during the interview, I will tell you about the journey that I went through also, so that it will be of help to possibly everybody.
Okay, great, sir. Great introduction from you, sir. So, Dilip, sir, you often share your valuable tips and tricks to enhance our soft skills. One memorable trick you taught us was to avoid the words I, me, mine, and myself. To remove these words from our English vocabulary which we have. So, to this immediately increases our English proficiency. Talking when it comes to spoken English or written English. It is this technique is so effective. Why is it so, sir?
See, ideally, what happens is it becomes very difficult for us to take these because it is said that generally human beings are supposed to be selfish. So the idea that when we played this game was to teach all of you as to why we need to focus less on ourselves and more on others. Because today we are all working in teams, and if you try to actually just try to show every time that because of me or I did it or my inputs, etc., then what happens is your team members tends to feel distance, and after a period of time, they say, no matter whatsoever we contribute, he is always trying to garner credit, etc. for them. So that was my main purpose of playing this game, because the more we focus on the we part, then as we say when we're talking about teamwork, etc., this concept nowadays. There's a very famous saying: no individual can be successful, but a team can be successful. So for that, it is essential that everybody in the team contributes, and this we can ensure by taking out these words from a dictionary and let us do it. We can all do it together. So when we use these types of words, automatically people are motivated, etc. So and another thing is, yes, I'm sorry that I forgot to mention this as such. So when we admit sometimes that we also do mistakes, so even the others feel that he's human, he's not trying to blow himself, thinking that he doesn't commit mistakes and only we team members are responsible. So that is the reason I actually played this game, and I still do it very often to explain to people the importance of taking out these words from their vocabulary, so that we part has to come into play.
Sir, so do you have any other such impactful tips which may improve communication skills like this? This is one of the most important, impactful you generally use in your training program. So what are some of the other aspects, some of the other helpful tips for communication skills effectively?
Okay. Another important, as part of a training, we also play this listening game also, which is very, very important, whereby it becomes very difficult for us. See, generally what happens, as I said, since we human beings are selfish, we tend to talk more about ourselves. But in the listening game, we teach the person how much to listen from the other person, and then try to paraphrase whatever you have actually listened in the best possible way. Like we give them two sets of exercises to do. One is when the person has his self introduction, and the other when they introduce their partner or the team member introduction. So generally, the experience that in my training has shown that people are very comfortable when they talk about their partner, because if they have listened well, they are easily able to talk about it.
Okay, great.
So
Great.
this is one of the ways to enhance the communication. And of course, there's no substitute to reading.
Okay.
And even today also, just a couple of days ago, I wrote some mails to the editors of some different newspapers. So that enhances your written communication skills also.
Okay.
So what happens is, I always feel that the day my mail gets published in the newspaper, that means yes, I have got some credibility as far as my written communication goes.
Okay. Great. So, can you share a little bit about your journey as a corporate behavioral and soft skills trainer? From how has the journey been over the years?
Okay. Uh, See, as I mentioned, I some time ago I started way back in 2000 onwards.
Okay.
But yeah, and the first, in fact, before I actually ventured out into my own way of working, that is what we call as a freelance way. I worked with another consultancy where I had done one program for this company called Midco. They are the manufacturers of those dispensers which you see at the petrol pumps. Other than L&T, Midco is the second company in which they fill the petrol into your vehicles, etc.
Okay.
So the HR advisor of that company, he was also the HR advisor for this company which manufactures those swastik Chicago soaps. So they wanted to do a program on conversational English, etc. So that was my first real break. And then afterwards, once I quit my full-time job, then since he was the HR advisor of another company called Diamond Jewelry at Gurgaon, he immediately they thought about a program like this. He invited me, and that actually was my first step towards the training area as a corporate
Okay.
independently. And at the same time, I had actually got a chance to become a full-time trainer with another organization also. But and that was a fantastic thing which I always tell people. So it was like staying in Villaparle, working in Villaparle, fantastic salary, fantastic position.
Great.
Okay, but yeah, but then I refused that. And like the typical Indian parent, my mother, used to tell everybody, and explain it in Hindi because that has become better to explain. क्या पागल है क्या इतना अच्छा नौकरी मिल रहा है वो टिफिन लेके जाने की जरूरत नहीं है घर में आके खाना खा सकता है वापस जा सकता है. But fortunately, my sister-in-law was there at that time. She said that, "Mommy, let us give him 1 year since he's already educated. Let us give him 1 year and see how he operates on his own." So, but fortunately, things went very well. As I said, Mr. Maru was with Dietens Jewelry started. Then when I was doing their program, I got a call from another jewelry company. And then after that, has been no looking back. Then 11th of March 2001, my name appeared in the education times for the programs that I was doing. Then my
Wow.
mother and before that, I was introduced by CNBC Awards also.
Yeah.
So then my mother, who 1 year ago started telling people, "Pagal lagta hai," started saying, "Beta ka naam kyun mein aaya?" So it's TV पे interview होता है. So the whole way of thinking changed.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yes, it was a big risk because the typical things are there. Like many parents are still conservative that they want their children to get into full-time employment. So
Yeah.
I was one of the rare breed who actually moved away from them.
Yeah. Great, sir. It was amazing for your journey, about your journey. So, you have trained 61,000 individuals. I cannot mention it more often, but you have trained 61,000 individuals and across various different industries. So, can you tell us about some of the most impactful training programs you have conducted? Some of the most.
Okay, I can remember one very well because that I was not expecting. Only I was conducting a program for Kotak Mahindra Bank, and generally those programs were 2 days. So early morning on the second day, one person came and he touched my feet as I was actually setting my laptop, etc., for the day proceeding. And I was actually stunned. I didn't know what happened, and I said, "What?" I said, "Long leave," etc. I said, "No," because I was in the. And then I asked him what happened. So he said, "Sir, I attended programs in school. I attended 5 years graduation in college, 2 years post graduation in MBA, but nothing like the kind of guidance etc. we have been getting since yesterday." So I said, "Thank you very much." So I guess that was one of them. And then the other one was, now of course there is a tag of international trainer which I don't like to talk about all the time. So when I went to Saudi Arabia, also I had to conduct programs in semi-Arabic and English. So I think that when I went there in Jeddah, the moment I landed, the manager of Saudi, the first thing he told me was, generally non-Muslims are never given entry into the holy place. So
Okay.
I think that I broke that glass ceiling also. I
Oh,
was able to conduct the programs there very well. Were all 5-day programs. So they were quite stunned that, an Indian speaking Arabic also and plus English also and conducting the program. So these are some of them. And of course, very recently also in March when I did a program for MIT, that time also the World Peace University of Pune. That time one of the persons he came and of course that was in Marathi. But the biggest advantage is that because I know these different languages. So he in fact he was quite a senior person and he said that generally all these programs are rubbish and they're very boring, etc. But this is one of the best I have attended in my life. So I just told him thank you very much. But then please go and tell the university official that they called the right person. So he went and told the LND lady also who was there that, ma'am, we are very thankful to you that you called the right person. And he was able to connect with us very well in spite of his background. So I guess these are some of them. Of course, there are many, but I think these are some of the best ones I can think of.
okay, sir. So let's come back to a little bit of a present tense, present work. So, what do you believe are some of the most essential behavioral and soft skills that professionals need today?
Okay. Uh, See, one of the things is if you want to climb up the corporate ladder, there is no substitute to hard work as well as communication skills. Because as you grow, you will be getting things done through people. And one of the things one has to remember is your communication skills has to be on the top. I share my own one experience. Now, see, as you mentioned, I have been in this field for so long. And one of the institutes I told that lady because we had the teamwork activity, and the people actually sit down on the ground and perform that activity. So I told that lady there, the admin person, that Rekha, today we don't want chairs because today we are having the sit down session. And I thought that, since she knows what they're doing all about and all, there's no need to reconfirm and seek feedback, etc. When I went there in the evening to conduct the session, I saw that all the chairs were there, only my chair was not there. So you can well imagine that for a person who conducts communication programs, if I
Okay.
could go wrong. So
Okay.
this can happen to many people. And then generally, as I said, no, that I meeting, we start telling that, "Arey, you this much also you don't know. You should have asked me." We don't attribute that fault to ourselves. Actually, we should say that I have not been able to communicate well. So the communication skills is one. And second and most important, I guess, is the ability to get along with people. So if your interpersonal skills are fantastic, what happens is I'm sure anybody and everybody under the sun will cooperate with you. So
Okay.
then life becomes celebration. So the two main core ones are you should be, of course, a person of integrity and communication and interpersonal skills.
Okay. Sir, about soft skills over the years, how has the training of soft skills evolved over the 24-year long career? Maybe you are not, you say it is only one day at a time, but it is 24 years, sir. It's still a
Yes,
long
yes.
time.
So,
How has it evolved? How
uh,
has the perception been from the people's point of view?
yeah. See, initially when I used to tell people like, I'm doing these types of programs, etc. So what people used to feel what मेरे को इसकी क्या जरूरत है? What people used to feel that just because they have the required qualifications or the possible looks, they can walk into a job. But unfortunately, that is a misconception they have. I'll share another personal experience with you since you asked me this question. I was on that interview panel once for this company called eFunds, and there were four people who were actually trained by me. But I just want to check that because as I said, see, we need to check how effective we are also. We might be performing the best, but ultimately how the people perform on the field is what is the most important. Because I always say we might be the best of coach, but if the players don't perform well, then
Yeah,
no matter the best coach also becomes zero. So I
correct.
went there and then they had what is called as that jam session, which is that just a minute wherein the person picks out a chit and speaks on that topic that is mentioned there for 1 minute. And that is called that fishbowl exercise. So they take the now one person picks the chit, he looks at it and he or she starts speaking. Now, look, that day it so happened that there was a boy who was extremely good looking. When I say extremely good looking, he can put most of our actors and models to shame. So He picked up the chips, and generally what they do is if the previous person speaks for 1 minute, I get 1 minute as thinking time. But unfortunately, that day, that girl who was before him, she hardly spoke for 20 to 25 seconds. With the result, this boy got very less thinking time. He just opened his chip and he went blank. He just couldn't speak at all. Then the round got over. I said, one, two, three, four. These four are selected, the rest can go on. So the other asked me, sir, how do you know that these four will be selected? I said, those are my own students, no? So I know that they have performed well. Then I told this boy, see, unless and until you attend a personality workshop, etc., wherein you enhance your communication skills, you will never be able to clear an interview. So as I said, he was extremely good looking, but the ability to present himself at that point of time, thinking on the feet as we call it, unfortunately it was lacking. So I have seen like today the importance has come in. People have realized that yes, I may have the education, but if I am not able to express myself well, whether it is at your performance appraisal interview, telling people also what is the kind of work you're doing, or even if you are as a student trying to get a job, that is the essence.
Okay.
So I have really seen that people are understanding the importance of investing in themselves.
Great. Very thoughtful, sir. So, what are the future trends you foresee in the field of corporate training and development? What are future trends?
Okay. See, if you recollect 2 years, that is 20 and 21, we
Okay.
had, because of the COVID and all, a lot of this virtual training, etc., was happening.
Okay.
But I have always been a strong believer that, especially a field like ours, you know, uh, technology can never replace human interaction
Okay.
because the kind of, as I mentioned to you, your team bonding skills, interpersonal skills, etc., can only be enhanced when you are actually put in a group and your behavior is observed by whosoever is leading the show. Like people feel like, I'm a very good gentleman, etc. But when you actually put them in a team activity, the real behavioral patterns emerge. Like I can give you one more experience when we did this program for Glaxo. In the class, people were talking big things. I'm gentleman, this, that, and that. Then we played one game outside, and the moment they were losing, they started picking feathers and throwing at that team which was winning.
Okay.
So fortunately, we have the mobile where you can record it. So I just recorded and I said, some time ago you all were telling us we are gentlemen, etc. So shall we watch that video of gentleman behavior? And they said, sir, we are very sorry for our behavior. So I feel that no matter whatsoever technology comes, there are certain skills which technology can teach you, certain tips, etc. But hardcore, actually, if you want to get into behavioral skills, then all you have to undergo some training, etc., specialized training wherein people can tell you and pinpoint to you that what are some of the mistakes that you have done as part of it. Another activity that we did, a person said, "Sir, आपने मुझे leader नहीं बनाया इसलिए मैं part नहीं लूँ." I said, "कोई बात नहीं, आप part मत ले लो." Then when he realized his team is losing, he joined. So then I told him, "But you said you are not going to participate." So he said, "नहीं sir, मेरी team हार रही थी तो मैं कैसे छोड़ सकता हूँ?" I said, "ये आपको पहले सोचना चाहिए था." Because every time you will not necessarily be a leader, no? There are times when you have to become a good team worker also.
Yeah. Sir, you always have heard from a little bit of interviews you did before that you introduce music into your training programs. Yeah. So can you tell about a little bit about it?
Oh yeah, very much. I see the reason is what happens is today people are very stressed out, etc. I observe,
Yeah.
and they generally don't get time to de-stress themselves. So when I was conducting a program for Reliance, one person actually told me that, "Sir, I like your methodology of teaching. Along with the activities, you are giving us some nice music also, which is very very refreshing." I said, "Yeah, because I know you all don't listen to music. That is the reason you are having the students here. So I want them to enjoy also and let the learning be fun as well." So that is the reason I always introduce music during the part of the activities, etc., so that people feel distress also and they can perform very naturally.
Sir, you also have a big dream for India that you wanna see India without old age homes. So can you talk about
Yeah.
it? Is it true, sir?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, very much. It still exists. In fact, I still that is a standard. I can say a flagship of my every program, wherein I explain to them that because see what I'll tell you my personal experience because I was abroad and my brother also was abroad. When I actually came on my annual vacation, I did not come to relocate to Bombay. But then since my mother wasn't keeping well, I relocated to Bombay. So initially people thought that when I went for interviews, they said, oh, you're looking at it as purely stopgap, is it? Because maybe you are getting a fantastic salary, fantastic job. You are saying that you used to stay on the ground floor, work on the first floor, etc. All that. So when are you planning to return? So I told him, no, I don't foresee that happening right now, because today whatever I am is thanks to the sacrifices made by my mother only. Because I lost my father at a young age when I
Yeah.
just went into 8th standard. So that is the reason I feel that somewhere along the way, yes, the children ought to take responsibility for whatever their parental sacrifices are, etc. Because money can always come in. It will definitely come in, because my saying goes, if you do your good karmas, God rewards you very
Yeah.
well. So
True.
I am dead against this whole concept of old age homes. So it actually saddens me when people still think that they should send their parents there.
Great, sir. So one last question before we get your conclusion, but this question is related to stock market. So what do you
Oh,
think
okay,
about the stock market? And do you invest? Do you trade? What do you do, sir? Do you trade in the stock market?
okay, okay. Uh, I'll tell you a little bit, because see, when I was in school, my classmate had given me one small diary and a pen with MRF of MRF tires, and that time,
Okay.
MRF was not known as a company as such. It was not a big brand as it is today.
Yeah.
So I just took it as a typical thing and I left it. But I feel that financial literacy as a subject should definitely be introduced in schools, etc.,
Yeah.
so that children understand the importance. I wish I had known about it, because to be very frank, I have always looked upon the stock market as a very risky proposition. But now I feel that, oh, I was a fool, and I wish I had actually somebody had told me about it, because I remember my neighbors that time long ago when I was abroad here once asked me, have you ever invested in shares? Because that time Infosys was just starting up.
Okay.
So I said, no, uncle, I don't feel that is of my cup of tea, because I heard people get stressed because every time they're talking about that in the trains, etc. So, but I feel that no, it is very, very important, because see, today I feel that had I just instead of buying some material things, had I just bought some shares of worth Infosys and by that compounding or Wipro shares also, I would have possibly been able to afford much, much more. I remember the story which appeared in the Economic Times, which said that I think in 2013, if people, instead of buying an Royal Enfield Bullet, had invested that same kind of amount in Eicher Motors, today they could have bought a Lambo car.
Yeah.
So that is the effect. Yeah, that is the effect of compounding. And yes, of course, my wife is maintains the track of that. So I always feel that everybody should, at some point of time, think about the future and invest in SIPs, etc.
Yeah.
Of course, I have invested a small amount, so that because our son is still not financial literacy savvy, so we have done it for him. And there was this concept. I think it still exists of money back policy in insurance also.
Yeah.
Once again, there also I burnt my fingers. I actually bought a money back policy, but today I realized by interacting with people, etc., it's always better to buy a term insurance policy, and the balance amount one should actually invest in stocks, because they say that I think other than equity, real estate, of course, comes next, and gold, etc. But other than equity, I think nothing has the capability, because of its compounding value, etc., to help enable you to become self-sufficient at a later stage. So, yeah, of course, one should always look at it like this: you invest in the stocks and then forget about what people say, etc. So keep quiet, and but it is always better and wise to do it through a financial advisor, because there are sometimes these people who actually will guide you to do it in a proper way. But what people say, no, no, why to give them brokerage, etc., all that. But I feel it is always better, because it is like self-medication, as we say. Instead of self-medication, why do we go to a doctor? So the same way, you need to have a financial advisor who will actually advise you which stocks to buy, etc., and then go about it. But yes, it is a must that everybody should look at it, or whatever small amount also, because nowadays for SIP, I think even up to 500 rupees a month
Yeah.
also one can start with. So one can always do that. And I think in fact, today, if you ask me, I would always suggest to people that, don't go for glamorous clothes like this. You can have a less branded thing, but make sure that you invest in SIPs, etc., so that long term you are taken care of. So I think that, as I said, I burned my fingers, but I
Yeah.
feel that financial literacy as a subject should be. But my wife has taken care of this aspect, so that I don't continuously think about that today.
That's great, sir. That's great. So thank you for coming today. We are coming to an end. And do you have some last wise words for our audience today?
Oh yeah, very much. One thing, as I said, don't be afraid of the stock market rising and falling.
Yeah.
That is bound to happen. Just invest and leave it. And if at all you are so worried, what you do is once you get in some profits, take up your capital amount, principal amount, whatever you have, and then start investing from the profits only. So then at least you know, okay, मेरा जो भी मुद्दा है, whatever I had in primarily invested, that one has not suffered a dent.
Okay.
And of course, for the others, make sure that you continuously keep on learning, because there is no age for learning, as we say that. Because I regularly attend programs, in spite of attending 300 plus programs, I still consider myself as a student only. So the more you learn, etc., stay with good company, people who will guide you on the right track. That is very, very important, because just don't blindly follow people's advice. Because since you asked me that, we had actually invested in one scheme wherein even after 3 years there was no, we actually suffered a minor loss. Fortunately, it was a minor loss, not a major one.
Okay.
So those stocks were to redeem. So in fact, that was more like an emotional decision which my wife took on the spot. So I told her that actually you should have waited before our financial advisor had actually told you to do that. So it is very essential that you have the right company, people who will tell you that just don't buy stocks for the sake of it, but buy something which will enable you in the long run. Because nowadays everybody tries to fall for these get rich quickly schemes, etc. And there are a lot of scams that are happening. So as the Mahatma Gandhi once said, there is enough for the needy, but not for the greedy. So one needs to be very, very cautious also when one is investing in stocks.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much for coming. It was an incredible discussion with you, sir, today. Your insights and experience are truly inspiring, and I hope you continue to elevate your work to new heights in the coming years. So thank you for being so approachable and inspiring us all who are listening till the end. And we greatly appreciate your time and wisdom. Thank you very much, sir. Again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure, and thank you for remembering me after so many years also.
Yeah, sir. Never, I'm never gonna forget you, sir. I mean, myself is the game changer for me.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
thank you. I hope this discussion will be the game changer for others also.
Yeah,
who
that's
listen and watch it also.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing, sir. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.